welcome to Synced on Air, courtesy of Turfs Up Radio. Today, I have two very special guests that I met for the first time at Synced Live, Traci and Tom O'Brien from Oxford Lawns. Welcome, guys. How are you?
We're doing great. Thank you. Thanks for
Good,
having
thanks.
us. Thanks.
Sure. Well, we had an interview, I guess, months back, and I was intrigued with your story. So it's great to get it on the podcast and get a little more detail around it. So, yeah, tell us a little bit about each of you and when you started, and yeah, where do you want to start?
You take it off on this one.
All right. Well, Tom started the mowing business about 16 years ago. And I was more in the background, just helping with office things when needed. And then when COVID hit, I was a hairdresser, was my other job. So when COVID hit, I decided that I didn't want to go back to hairdressing. And he's like, well, come and work with me. So I started doing more office work for him, which then transpired into us having this vision of changing the business and me actually being out in the field with him. So then you can talk about the vision of the new business.
Yeah, we were getting a little frustrated with the lawn mowing aspect that we were running for the business.
Why was that?
Excuse me?
Why was that?
Mostly employee situations over the last few years. The story of everybody's business, employee issues, concerns. There's a shortage of employees in our area. So that those that don't know, we're down in Florida. We're in Central Florida. The little history on this part about employees is one thing that we realized over the last few years. The expansion of all the retirement communities has been huge. I mean, like there's this unprecedented amount of growth in our area, which means that there's more need for service age people for the restaurants, lawn mowing, fertilizer sprays, any kind of service, doctor's offices, everything that goes along with an influx of retirees. But what had happened is they had bought out the land of all the people that were of age to do the work. So you replace the land of where all the working age people, the younger people lived, they get bought out. These giant communities that move in for retirees, now there's no people left of age to do the work for the retarees.
Oh, wow.
This became evident. We started seeing this becoming a reality like maybe 3 years ago. Like even after COVID, COVID started it all for me, to be honest with you, the frustration aspect of it. But even beyond that, we started to recognize the fact that there's less employees to choose from in this area, and there's a lot more businesses trying to suck up whatever's left, and the ratio just was not working anymore. And we were growing our business exponentially because there's so much work here and there wasn't enough companies to do all the work.
Wow.
So that's when we started getting a little frustrated. We had this great business plan, great business model, so much work out there, but there's just not enough people to take on the work that we needed as far as supervisors and crew leaders and reliable people. And then the reliability factor kicked in that we all know about. Nobody wants to work 5 days a week, 8 to 10 hours a day, show up every day. That's the past. And well, that's when we started a new business model. That's a short story long, I guess.
Okay. So what did the company look like before the transition? How many people?
We had 2 trucks, and this is wintertime. We'd have 3 trucks running in the summertime. We had about 6 employees, and we serviced 400 weekly mowing accounts.
Wow.
So it was a bit of a monster, but
yeah,
we had been doing it for 16 years. So we had really, really tight route density, which is key.
Yeah.
So we would own a whole street. That's why we were able to get like 400 done a week. And they're not big yards. I'm not bragging. Like we're doing 1 acre properties. We're not. They're doing like 1/8 acres or 1/4 acre properties. But so yeah, route density helped out, but it was a big monster. It was a lot. And when they're under contract, like they are, we have yearly contracts and they are paid out monthly. So we have the budget every month.
Okay.
So because our retirement communities, we have found out that everybody wants to know what a monthly budget is. So therefore we would give a year's worth of service paid out in equal monthly installments.
Okay.
So
yeah.
that was the model that we ran.
And the other side to that is that we are in the South in Florida, so you're mowing all year. You're not mowing winter. Yes, winter we do every other.
I mean, look at those
So
trees up there.
Yeah.
Spanish
Beautiful.
moss right there.
so the yearly works a lot better in the South.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What, you're zone 10 or something? Yeah. I'm zone 9.
yeah, 9B.
Oh, are you 9B? Okay. Same as us. Oh,
The master gardener over here.
okay. Awesome. So let's see, drum roll.
Yeah. So
What
what we
have
ended
you
up doing,
changed to?
we sold
Yeah.
it all. We just got rid of it all. The gentleman
Ah,
that was working for us as the crew leader and the supervisor for the lawn mowing, he went through heck with us, trying to keep us. He worked his butt off for us. He really did. So we felt we owed him. He came of age. He was getting older. He just bought a house. He's getting married. So we wanted to set him up for success in his life.
oh,
He helped us out. So we wanted to help him out as well. And we were done with the business. Don't get me wrong. We just wanted to get rid of the business too. So it worked out great. So he took it over. All the customers knew him.
yeah.
They were used to him being on the property. I wasn't even the face that was out there anymore. I just got out of the truck. I was just more running the business. And then we were building the new aspect that we'll talk about in a second. So our lawn customers never even saw Traci or I. They all knew Sean and
Well, that was good planning.
yeah,
Even if you didn't know you were doing it.
well,
Yeah.
we did 2 years.
You
We knew
did. Okay.
yeah, we had a 2 year plan. Well, it took 2 years to make sure it was a viable. So
Okay.
jump into it
Okay.
and be like, oh, now what would we do? So yeah, so we sold it off to him. We owner financed it for him, sold the whole route. He took it. Not one person jumped ship. It was kind of amazing. We were surprised. So
That's
it worked out
awesome.
well. It worked out really.
Yeah.
Now, like we're still in transition stage. He's part. Like, the trucks are still right there.
Okay.
Yeah, he still parks here on the property. We're still working close with him and his girlfriend just to make sure everything transitions over really well. If there's
Mhm.
questions with customers who are saying they never got the letter that we were selling, which anyway, you got the letter. Our email got trackers in them. So yeah, it's been really good. It's been really smooth for the most part. It's been really good.
Well, that was great that you had somebody, in line that,
Yeah.
that wanted the business, was capable, and yeah,
Yeah,
to transition into that.
yeah. Prior to that, and I'll let you jump in on this one with the new part. We decided we were done with the lawn mowing. We started doing the top dressing aspect that we're going to talk about. We started that 2 years ago, I think maybe 2.5 now, to test it out, to do proof of concept, to make sure the numbers worked, to make sure the available work was out there, to make sure we
Yeah.
were financially secure enough with that new aspect of business before we sold off the part that we didn't need, because that was
Yeah.
our bread and butter. I mean, that was nice.
It was,
So-
yeah, it was a scary
Jump in.
venture because, here you are, you've had the security for the last 16 years, and now you're thinking of letting that go. Even with selling, you're still like, all right, is this gonna work? Like what's gonna happen?
What are we doing?
We started, well, our mowing crew would be out during the day. We started doing some irrigation work just to try and find things that we could do ourselves. And the
Okay.
irrigation work is great also down here, but we really found that the dethatching, aeration, and top dressing of properties was really where it was at.
Yeah.
Ton
of work. The profit margin was much better than the lawn mowing. The stress level was way less because with the lawn mowing, they have to get done every week. They're paying for the service. They want the service, and it's proper. I mean, I'm not saying it's a wrong thing to do, but if it's not done, you can't put it off to next week. So all those yards had to get done every week. And then when people weren't showing up for work, or they felt that, well, we'll just do it next week. What are you all mad about? Blah, blah. It's like, it doesn't
work that way.
No, that's
Yeah.
not how we built this business. And 16 years, we have an awesome reputation around here. We have a really strong foothold in our area. And then that's why we just decided to jump in with the irrigation. Then we started doing the top dressing.
Let's talk about the top dressing. Okay. So
Yeah.
was this a reaction? Sorry?
I said, it's hot. I'm sweating over
It's
here.
hot. Yeah, you're in Florida and it's
Oh,
almost summer. um,
Tomorrow.
so so was one of the things that I heard is that in Florida the regulations changed. Was that something that spurred you on, or were you already doing this? What is it that in the summer months you can't apply granular
that's county by,
fertilizer?
yeah, that's county by county.
Oh,
That's
is
not
it?
a statewide mandate. Some
Okay.
counties, um, I believe it's proper thing to do. But yeah, there's a nitrogen blackout period for fertilizer companies. You can't put down nitrogen in the summer months in some areas. And that's where top dressing would be great for somebody in those areas, because you can,
Hmm.
there's two aspects. One, you can do this all year round because it's all natural. You're not putting chemical fertilizers down. It's all compost. And then there was another aspect and it just went, whoop.
That's okay. It'll come back.
Yeah.
That happens to me all the time.
I'll also say on that,
Yeah.
being, like you said, being in Florida where our water is our resources, it's so important here. The other
Mhm.
side is using the compost. You're not letting all that fertilizer chemical run off into the water systems either. So it changes and is a lot more organic and viable of a solution also.
Yeah.
You're amending the soil, so you're going to have long-term effects. It's
Mhm.
going to help with your irrigation. You won't need to irrigate as much. Your soil will be healthier. Your lawn will be healthier.
Well, and so when you say compost, where are you getting this? What's it look like? So it's not just a top dressing with a topsoil. It is much richer than that.
Well, we got really lucky when Tom started looking into what we would be using. There's actually a composting facility, like literally around the block from us almost.
Oh,
Probably
wow.
15 minutes away. It's called Life Soils,
Command.
is the parent company, and it's Command Compost is what we use.
And the nation loves this stuff. All, not all, but the big golf courses use it. It's a very well known on the professional side, not on the retail like Lowe's and Home Depot side.
Yeah.
And we are, like Trace was just saying, we're crazy fortunate. It's made like 5 minutes right down the road. So yeah, we're in the little perfect trifecta situation here for success as far as that. But yeah,
So you tried it and then so
yeah.
you top dressed with it. How were you
The,
physically top dressing?
well, the
Or
results are what sold it first off, but
okay.
because there are other aspects. You're asking about the compost for lawn work. You don't want to use manure-based compost. There's different brands out there. I'm not gonna mention names because I don't want to get into trouble with anybody. But they all on the bags, the manure-based ones will say for gardens or for vegetable gardens or for stuff like that, but they never say, not never, but they don't say for lawn work. And our side of the business is trying to fix yards. So Command is why we are so fortunate right here. Command, made by Life Soils, is designed, formulated, mixed. It's not cow manure based, and there's reasons you don't want manure based as far as weed seeds and leftover herbicides in it. So it is designed specifically for lawn work, which is why
Okay.
golf courses, residential properties or commercial properties will use it on the grass because it just makes a yard pop, and that's why I was going to get, like, say the results are what actually sell the work for us. But how did we end up doing it? We bought a dump trailer, just a standard old black cheap dump trailer, and we bought a top dressing machine. And we bought a shovel.
That's it.
Yeah, thought that we did the hard way. I would never do it that way again. If anybody, don't do this. But,
Yeah. The
yeah.
first thing's not to do. Yeah. Okay. Well, how
Try
did
to
that
shovel
go?
12 yards of compost out of the back of a dump trailer and still be alive at the end of the day. It doesn't work. But that's what we were doing for our proof of concept. We didn't want to spend a lot of money on the
Yeah.
other equipment that we have now. So to do the proof of the business that we were going to make it out there, we bought a cheap dump trailer, a 14-yard dump trailer, standard run of the mill, nothing special. a top dressing machine that we still use today because we think is the best one out there for the type of yards that we're doing, which was the Eco Lawn top dressing machine.
Okay.
Yeah, Eco Lawn is the one that we choose, just because we like the way it throws the product out the front. There's other ones out there that just drop it off the front of the machine.
Okay.
There's probably
This spreads it better
yeah,
for
this
what
has like
you're.
most people are probably familiar with salt spreaders, like most up
Yeah.
north have a salt spreader with those wheels on it that turn. They have little paddle wheels.
Yeah.
Eco Lawn drops the compost off a conveyor belt into those wheels, and then the wheels break it up and throw it, and it just throws it,
Okay.
and it can throw a 3-foot pattern or you can throw a 10-foot pattern.
Oh, wow. Okay.
When you get into a little tight detailed area, you just slow down. It does a nice detail work, and then when you get into a wide open area, you just open it up, and it's like, whoop, and then you're just throwing a lot of compost. Where the ones that just drop it off the front, you're always just dropping that pathway. So it's a
Okay.
lot more back and forth and back and forth. Whereas you can open this one up. It just fits our needs. The other one is a nice machine too. I actually tried it out, but this one just fits our needs better for our work area.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so we bought the dump trailer, we bought the Eco Lawn top dressing machine, we bought 2 shovels. I'll say 2 shovels, not one. But and
We started shoveling compost.
yeah, no, we had
How'd you get your first client? Was it somebody you were already cutting grass for, or?
No, it was actually through networking. Like we have a really strong foothold in our area, the villages, the Florida community that's biggest nations, the world's largest retirement community. But we've been around so long, we know all the fertilizer companies in our area. And we don't sell ourselves as a fertilizing company for this reason. We sell ourselves as soil amending, fixing the foundation so that a good yard can be built up from that good foundation. We don't
Okay.
sell ourselves as fertilizing companies because we don't want to step on their toes because they're the ones that give us all the work.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we have networked with all the fertilizing companies in the area now, but we started out with one that I was really working with because they were very good at what they did and we were top level for what we do, and explained to him what we were getting into, and he's just like, oh heck yeah, I got so much work for you if you get into that. And we were just like, uh-oh.
Are we sure we
got
want to do this? Yeah.
That's how we got our first job, just using the people that we already knew that were in the fertilizing industry. So he's like, oh, all right, so that's how we're going to get into this. So tip number 1 for
Okay.
everybody watching, network with your local fertilizing companies because that's going to be your biggest source of work. Because
Yeah. And so they didn't see you as competition.
right now,
No.
we laid that out right up front. We're
Good.
fixing the soil. We're fixing the foundation. You are being set up for success, and then you can take it from there, and we got you covered.
Yeah.
The problem here is just all sand and clay, and I'm running away with this, but I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's all sand and clay. Nothing grows in sand and clay, so we're doing the same thing like a farmer would do. Turn the, get that good organic material mixed into the soil. They grow cover crops and turn it over into the soil. We can't do that because there's grass already there. So we're working through the grass with core aeration, punching
Yeah.
the bazillion holes in the yard, and working the compost down that way.
Okay.
So that's
So
why
are you, go ahead.
that's why we don't sell ourselves as a fertilizing company. We're selling
Yes.
ourselves as soil amending, and we call
Good.
it the soil foundation. So we just sell ourselves as a setting up for success down the road of all these fertilizer companies that we do the work for.
And so you're actually working for the fertilizing company,
No, they
or
just tell
no, they refer you.
they refer us. Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
We made up really nice brochures that say we are, they're Command Compost because everybody knows Command down this area as being top notch. So we put our name on the Command brochure. They gave us permission to do that, and we just hand those out to all the fertilizer guys. We give them like 50 brochures at a time, and they just hand them to the customer that has a bad yard, and we get the
Okay.
phone calls, and then we just take it from there.
And go ahead, Tracy.
A lot of the fertilizer companies will recommend to the client itself that to call us and have whatever services they feel they need done. So,
Okay.
and what we're also enabling, once the services are done that we perform on the client's yard, that also gives the fertilizing company the foundation, like Tom was saying, for them to do their job. Because right now, when they're spraying, if it's just sand and there's nothing to catch those sprays or, like there's a lot of runoff happening. So this way there's actually some healthy soil to retain those chemicals and to help that grass to grow and do whatever it needs to do.
Yeah, I can imagine if it is, so sandy and you don't have that foundation. So and just that little, I mean, I think you've said how much you put, but
Yeah,
it's
we'll
a
feel that.
small layer.
It's a very small layer. It's like 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. But that's what's on
Okay.
top because we're raking it out with leveling rakes too. We have a drag
Okay.
mat that will drag behind us. A drag mat is a big wire mesh, almost like a piece of fencing. Almost, I
Okay.
can't explain it, but we drag that around behind us, and it works the compost along, and then it works it down into those holes that we just made with the core aeration machine,
Yeah.
and it pushes that compost down into those holes. It's getting down into that sand and clay. 2 reasons: one, it prevents it from compacting back up into concrete, so the roots have places to move. The water canal, when they do an irrigation system run at nighttime, when they do it, the water is actually going to soak into that compost and work its way down into the soil. And then this is where the chemical companies love this stuff, because now it's like a wick when they spray their chemical sprays or pest control sprays or anything, or weed stuff. It soaks into that compost and it works its way down into the soil. It's not like
And
hitting,
stays put.
it stays put, it stays there, because compost holds on to moisture for a long time, so it stays there.
Yeah.
Sand and clay, if the sand, it just runs through sand, it just leaches right through. Or if it's really bad clay area, the sand and clay, it's compacted down and it just sits on top and it doesn't even get into where it needs to be. So that's why once we do this work, we know all the fertilizer companies are just set up for success. They're so happy when we do this.
That's awesome. And so what kind of time frame? And you got your dump trailer and you were testing one lawn. How long before you saw results?
All right, well, I'll take this one. We have a little farm here that we run, so we have egg customers that come in and honey customers. Traci's
Oh, cool.
So there's a lot going on here.
Awesome.
So the time frame, is that what your question was?
Yeah, before you knew, so you got the equipment to get started, and how soon before you said, oh my goodness, we need to,
6 months.
this is going to work. Really? 6 months?
It took off. I mean, yeah, the results, we did it right. We've been doing this for a long time as far as running the business, and we had another business prior to this up in New Jersey too, but we made really nice yard signs up, like big yard signs, and it says lawn rehab, lawn renovation in process. It has our big logo on there and the phone number. And it's really eye-catching because we have like that construction tape, that yellow black tape. It looks like it across it. So just an eye catcher. So any yard that we do, we put those signs out. And then here where we're working in the villages, it's all about keeping up with the Joneses. Everybody has to have the nicest yard and all this other stuff. So we do one yard, and then the neighbor's like, oh, Mr. Jones had their yard done. Now Mr. Smith wants his yard done. And the neighbor, when we're in the neighborhood, it just took off. I'm telling you, it was insane. So if anybody's thinking about doing this, is why I wanted to talk to you, because we did the proof of concept. It worked. We worked out of a dump trailer just to make sure. The work is there. You just network, and it took 3 to 6 months is how fast we were like, all right, this is a winner. So at that point in time, when we figured that out, I'm just trying to get you right here.
Thank you, sorry.
That's right. I guess it was like after 6 months, we're like, this is stupid. We're working out of the back of the dump trailer. It was probably July and August.
It was.
Oh my, we were freaking,
Oh no.
we were absolutely dying out there. Like Traci would be in the trailer. It's a black trailer in the Florida sun.
Oh,
Lawn mowing crews are out there.
metal.
Metal in the road, so there's no tree cover.
Oh.
And the lawn mowing crews were doing their thing, and we're still out there doing our thing, and just trying to make sure this worked. Dying, like I'm telling you, we're dying, like we're dying. Traci would shovel the compost into the top dressing machine out of the trailer. Then I would spread it, and she'd be taking a break while I was spreading the compost. And then
oh gosh,
I would put the machine back at the trailer.
And then you would wrestle up shoveling.
She'd be shoveling. But then we're like, okay, there's got to be a better way to do this. I mean, we had so much work at that point in time, and we can only do like maybe one big yard and maybe one small yard a day.
Okay.
Work, and then that's when we started.
Especially as it got warmer, because we were doing 2 a day, and we're like, all right, we need to watch how much we're doing in a day. But we realized the work was definitely there. So he started looking for better solutions than us shoveling when we realized that this is a hit.
So yeah, it took. So Ed, your question was how long did it take before we realized it was immediate, like 3 to 6 months. We had so much work lined up. We're like the profit margin. It was only Traci and I doing it. No other employees were involved. One truck. So I didn't need the 3 trucks running around. I didn't need the 6 employees running around. Yeah, we were doing the work, but the stress level was so light, and we were actually enjoying it because we were working together again. You know, we leave when we wanted to in the morning. We could get a late start if we wanted to sleep in. Just the life became so much better when we realized this is going to work. It was like,
and you're going to be really muscly.
I'll tell you, the weight difference between the winter and the summer is just 25 pounds for me. You sweat it all up. But yeah, it was at 6 months point in time is when we actually decided we're going to run with this. We're going to work at transitioning out of the lawn mowing. And it took us about 1.5 years to do, maybe a year. Because what had happened, like we got through the summer, the stress came off because mowing season was over. We're in the winter season. It was a lot easier. And I'm like, oh, maybe we can just squeeze in 1 more year. Let's just give this another shot. We'll keep the mowing for another year. Traci's like, no, don't. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. Don't tell me not to. So Traci was right.
Traci was right. That's the moral of the story. The last season, it was kind of funny because, I've been married the whole way through. So it's like every summer is when the stress level really rises, and he's like to his wit's end. And then winter comes in and, it gets calmer. And he's like, all right, this isn't so bad. So that last season when he was like, well, maybe we'll hold it another year. And I'm like, no, we're done. That's it. It's over. That part of our life is over. We need to take the initiative.
And a lot of that was the fear, like we were talking about earlier with the finances. Like, made a lot of money with lawn mowing, and now you're going to give all that away. Well, we're going to sell it off, but it was still
a scary time.
That transition was very scary. And we would take turns and then look at the other and be like, you said it was going to be okay. It's going to be okay, right?
So you were okay, and Tom was
freaking out.
One was freaking out and one was okay. And as long as it alternates, it's okay, isn't it?
Happy snap, happy house, right? So it worked out good. And I guess it was like after that 6-month period, after we shoveled it back out of the back of the dump trailer for those months, and like, okay, we knew it was going to work. We decided we're going to sell the business, but we had to wait. We just wanted to I just wanted a clean cut at a certain time frame, and with the accounting aspect of trying to do a mid-year sale, it was like, no. So we worked it out with Sean. We talked to Sean. Sean's the gentleman that bought the company from us. Probably like 6 months prior. We probably talked to him June of last year, just to make sure he wanted it and he was still on board. Because he had thrown hints out in the past. I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm going to give it to you. He'd be like, oh, really? Okay, good. So I called his bluff. I'm like, okay, you ready for this? And he was. So we worked out a really good price, but it took 6 months. And thank God we talked to him in June, because it took a lot longer than we actually thought it was going to take to make the sale happen, the contract, the paperwork, and the numbers, and the lawyers, and the accounting, and all that nonsense. It took a long time.
Yeah, definitely longer than we thought it would.
And then the software swapping of stuff and all that didn't work out so good, but it got handled. So yes, it was a big endeavor.
You would think it would go maybe faster because he was in the business and knew a lot. So that's a good tip.
Yeah,
it takes longer than you think to do.
And, I have watched so many videos about this because we were talking about doing this. So I'm on YouTube all the time. So I was watching how to make a sale of a service business work and all that stuff. And then like 3 months, 6 months, I'm like, get the hell out of here. Like, come on.
1 week.
Yeah.
Living proof right here. It took 6 months of talking, paperwork, setting up appointments with the accountants, making, figuring out the valuation of the business, and then getting the cost of the equipment and all. I was like, oh my goodness, it was a bigger task than expected. But that's not what we're here to talk about. But yes, if you're listening 6 months, listen to the people on YouTube. They are right.
Awesome. So
After that,
moving on, then you decided to make a
we decided that we were going to go that route. Once we made the decision to go that route, we started figuring out, we got to figure a easier, better way.
Yeah.
And that's when we hooked up with Mulchmate. You know who they are. You've seen us with them.
Yeah.
We didn't even know they existed. I had no idea what Mulchmate was or what it was all about, but I was just, again, on YouTube. I'm a YouTube
watcher.
Watcher. Fanatic.
I'm a YouTubeaholic. Yeah. So much information. I want it all. But I was just looking at different setups of dump trailers, tailgate conveyor systems, and all this other stuff. And somewhere along the line, one of their videos popped up about the Mulchmate unit on the back. It's just a separate mount on the back, not the whole trailer setup that we have. And that's how they started out. And they had just come out with the trailer that you saw at this show.
Yeah.
That it's called the DMT trailer. They had just come out that not too prior to us calling them. And so we saw the video. I wasn't exactly sure how it was all working and what it was all about. So we called up and I actually got a hold of Nick on the phone. Nick is the owner of Mulchmate. He actually is the guy that answered the phone. And, I'll talk to everybody. I'll talk to anybody. Obviously I got diarrhea of the mouth. So, I just explained to him what we were doing and what we needed and what we were experiencing, the problem we were trying to fix. And his enthusiasm was killer. He's like, oh, heck yeah, dude, this is exactly what we're doing. This is what we're doing. He's like, oh my, his enthusiasm was like, it was great. Like
infectious.
Yeah, I just felt so comfortable with the guy and he was so forthcoming with so much information. He gave us names of people to talk with. That's how we found Life Soils, I think, was through him.
Okay.
He knew other people down in this area that were getting into top dressing. So it was a really situation. So he's the one that solved our labor problem. He's the one that turned us on to the Mulchmate unit, the trailer, explained to us what it was about, how we could bring the equipment with the trailer and carry the compost and
all in one go.
And replace employees with efficiency, automation, not paying labor, not dealing with the stresses of, oh, who's going to show up today? I guess I'm working by myself today. Like all that stuff was gone. So it was a big investment. I mean, it's not the cheapest trailer in the world. Don't get me wrong, but we knew we had the work. We had proof of that. We were actually holding back. Like a little side story here. Let me step back a little bit. We talk about networking with all the fertilizer companies. We had 400 lawn customers that we never even told we were doing this work. That was our little safety net.
That was what we thought we would build that business.
Well, I guess that's what I was thinking. It was the people that you knew.
They had no idea. We were just doing a whole separate entity. Like the lawn mowing, cut the screen in half. Mowing was over here, and we were running that part of the business. And on the side, Traci and I were over here experimenting with top dressing and just keeping it quiet because we were keeping 400. Like, that's a big chunk of people.
That is.
We would have made a killing with just those 400 people. We never notified them. We never sent letters out. We never gave them anything. We wanted to build it separately. And my thought process was, well, if it doesn't work over here, we could always go back and have this little safety net of a customer base that loves us. 16 years we've been on their properties. We could always go back and sell to them if we need to, but we
never needed to.
We never needed to. They still to this day don't even, well, now they know because in our letter we typed up what we were doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
When we sold the business, they were like, well,
I had no idea.
Well, what are you guys doing? What do you mean? You're like, what are we missing out on? We're like, you're not missing on anything. No.
Well, but they need to know too. Like, I mean,
No, you can see our calendars. It's we could have 3 Mulchmate trailers running around and more employees, but we don't. We're done. And then we have.
So you're maxed out where you are.
We really are. Thank God.
And that's without telling the customers that we already have. This is just in a short amount of time, 6 month time, 3 months to get it took 3 months for us to get our routine under. And then 3 months of talking to everybody that I already knew in the fertilizer companies and telling them what we were doing, explaining, showing them the results. Like, here's a property I already did. Here's one. Go look at it. You know, if you want to see it, go look at it.
And one thing that happened also, we put a yard sign on the lawns. Oh, you did too?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And
That
it's
yard
lawn
sign
renovation and
so much
under
work.
renovation.
And even fertilizer companies were seeing that. I hope I'm not repeating that, but the fertilizer companies were seeing the difference of the lawns, which then enticed them to also recommend us. So that opened that door even more also, not just for clients calling, but for other professionals to recommend us.
Well, and from like what you said, Tracy, it helps the chemicals be taken up, or maybe you said it, Tom, too, but like I think you both did touch on that it actually allows them to do a better job than they were doing before the renovation.
Because what happens, like sand and clay, which is, let me back up a little bit again. When they build these communities, all the sand is really soft sand. They can't build a foundation or a slab for a house on this soft sand. So what they do, and I'm going to try to make this fast, they take bulldozers and dump trucks, like these massive quarry dump trucks. They take all that sand away and they bring it to a central location and they just pile it up in giant sand mountains. Then next to that, they put another mountain of clay. And then they mix the clay and sand together to get the proper ratio of sand and clay. So it's a buildable base after they compact it.
Okay.
How to move around. So what they do is they strip mine it, like basically clear all the land, take it away, mix it with sand and clay, get the proper ratio, however they do that, whatever machines, I don't know how they do it. Then they truck it all back, then they grade it out, and then they compact it with rollers and bulldozers and whatever machinery is out there to compact it. They've compacted so hard that's where they can build their slab on top of. They can build the road surfaces on top of it. It's all new construction that we work.
Yeah.
There's no communities out here that are like been around for 50 years. This is all within the last 10 years. So they have all that compacted sand and clay. They don't know where the house is going to be, where the road's going to be, where the lawn's going to be. They don't care. They build the house, they put the road in, and they throw sod right on top of that concrete.
Oh my goodness.
Then they wonder why the yards are dying. That's why we have so much work. And that's why anybody that's in new construction around the nation, there's two aspects. Like, you're either fixing yards that were done improperly, or we talk to a lot of people that are now selling their work to contractors and home builders that are fixing the soil before they put the sod down.
Okay. Which is better. Yeah.
Remind me, because I'm going to forget. I want to talk to you about what's going on here with county subsidies for this.
Oh, okay.
It's huge. That's why I want to talk about this. So yeah, like, we're fixing the soil after the construction is done. A lot of guys are out there, other parts of the country, doing this work for contractors and home builders, fixing the soil properly before they put the sod down, which is the way it should be done. But then the home builder is paying for it. Or in our area, they're just putting the burden on the homeowner. But, so that's a whole way of looking at the business for people that are wondering about getting into stuff. But then also what's happening in Florida here, and this, we got turned on to this by Mark. Yeah, Mark Singleton, smartest guy in the world. He's the go-to guy for life soils. He was with UF and he's been around for a long time. But he was telling us, because they're involved with all these meetings as far as the counties are concerned, water management districts. There's several districts throughout the state of Florida that have responsible for water management, usages, how much gets sold to Nestle and Coca-Cola and all that stuff. But the counties are starting to put together programs to pay back subsidies to some home builders if they have the composting done prior, because it helps with watering. You know, the irrigation is such a problem with water here. When the composting is done and the top dressing and is done properly, it seriously does help reduce the amount of water that needs to be used for irrigation.
I think the study that he told me about is it reduced it more than half.
Yeah, probably.
Which is an amazing amount. And that was from top dressing, not from compost, then sod.
Yeah,
bending it
it
into
was
the soil
flipping
and
and
then putting the
bending.
sod on top. That's the best way to
Yeah.
do it. So the way we do it, we have to do 2 applications just to get the proper amount of compost because we're working through the soil. I mean,
Yeah.
we're
Through the
working through the
turf.
grass, yeah, through the turf. But if it's done properly, it's a lot easier and it's done right. And it's done. Then
Originally.
the grass is just going to get a better root system. But yeah, the counties are starting to realize it because there is such an influx of new homes being built and people moving
Mhm.
into the state, and that the water is truly becoming an issue.
Yeah.
And then it also ties into what we are talking about earlier with the fertilizer bans, because in the summertime, everybody's irrigating the crap out of their lawn to keep it green. Everybody's fertilizing the crap out of their lawn to keep it green. All that fertilizer in the summertime is running into the water table, and the water table is really shallow in this state. And then what's happening is polluting all the lakes, and it's polluting. And that's where red tide. There's a lot of
Mhm.
Gulf Coast. You
Yeah.
know about red tide, yeah. You'd
Yeah.
probably you have that up there too.
I don't know if we have it as we don't have many real beaches here in Louisiana, but yeah.
So yeah, there's a big problem with red tide, and it's been a lot of it's attributed to the summertime fertilizer and the
Mm,
summertime heavy irrigation, which is why they started doing fertilizer bans. We talked about that
mhm.
earlier. That's a big
Yep.
piece of it. And that's where top dressing comes in because you can do your spring heavy application of chemical fertilizers for those companies. In the summertime, when there's a ban, they can actually do the compost, use command, because you're allowed to use that when there's a fertilizer. Because
Okay.
it's not
Yeah.
fertilizer. It's just a slow release, all natural, organic compost, which is feeding the lawn through the summertime. And then at the fall, you just do another top dressing, a lighter, very light application just to keep it alive and keep it active.
And are you core aerating both times or just once or both times?
Every time we do a top dressing, we core aerate the hell out of a property. Like we are going
Okay.
left and right, up and down, because we want to get a lot of holes punched into that yard. It's not like a maintenance core aeration where they just will do a very light punching of holes and then move on to the next yard. We're purpose driven core aeration, I guess is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
We're
You have to get more in there than
yeah,
most
we
areas,
want more than
mostly.
12. Like I think the number is 12 holes per square foot on a regular aeration.
Okay.
We're at least doubling that because we're hitting that area twice, at least twice. And then what's nice is when you go over a hard spot where there's a lot of clay, you can actually feel the tines hitting really hard on an aerator. So you know to go back over that area again, put a lot
Okay.
of compost into that area. And sometimes we'll put the compost down and then hit it with the aeration machine again just to make sure we're getting it down in there.
Awesome.
Question, aeration happens every time we do a top dressing.
Yeah.
Just make
Yeah.
sure we get it down into the soil.
Great. And I mean, the other thing that you've said is very lucrative. So is it as, do you want to elaborate on that?
Oh.
No.
uh, no.
No.
I'll tell you our application rates. The only because I say no because I never talk pricing because pricing is so regional.
I was
Like,
going to say it does vary.
like I know like down south here, we're charging a nice amount of money, but other people that I talk to up in say Massachusetts or out Western California area, they're charging more than we are. So
Okay.
the numbers really don't. And
Yeah.
we live where compost is made, so we're probably getting the compost a little bit cheaper than say
Because of the transport saving. Yeah.
we get it by truckload. They deliver it right here to our property, but the truckload's only coming from 5 or 10 minutes down the road. So that the delivery fee is less. Somebody started a fire. There's like so much smoke around here. I can't even breathe. Neighbors over here burning. You might have to go inside. I'm choking. Uh,
Oh,
but so yeah, that's why I don't really like to talk about numbers as far
yeah.
as because profit margins are going to be different based off of expenses of the product, and we're only driving 5 minutes. Like I can't show you, but like seriously, right there is our neighborhood that we work in. Like
Oh, wow.
those rooftops,
Rooftops.
the rooftops are all right there, and see those houses right there?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So they're just all around you.
Yeah, we're surrounded by the villages, but so our travel time is 5 minutes, whereas other companies down farther south that we talked to, is
Hey, you two.
like other companies that we talked to down in the Tampa area, they're traveling an hour, maybe an hour and a half to get to some jobs.
Yeah,
So all that has to factor in. So that's, I mean, when I said it earlier, we're really the perfect storm, the perfect trifecta here.
that's amazing.
Our work is right there, right in our backyard. Command, the best product ever available to do this, is made right in our
Right
backyard.
there. Yeah.
And then we found the Mulchmate trailer, which has made our lives easy. So we made a great investment with that. We got really lucky with finding Mulchmate and hooking up with the equipment that they have.
Yeah.
And that's been the key to the success. I mean, I'm not trying to plug Mulchmate or
Well,
anything like that,
but it's a sustainable turf management strategy,
yeah,
you know, and I think what I like about it is that, you know, you're maximizing everything through this rejuvenation or renovation of your lawn. You're maximizing or minimizing water. You're getting nutrients into the soil, and it's helping all the other, you know, services, you know, do their job better. So it's such a win-win.
it really is.
And environmentally, it's a win.
Yeah.
Also, you know, I mean, like, we didn't start out with that in mind, but environmentally, it's a much better impact on the lawns. I mean, it's bad enough that they're such monocultured on all the lawns are exactly the same and they're constantly spraying and so forth to keep their lawn looking the perfect lawn. So this at least helps to alleviate some of that. And
Yeah. And
especially
keeps it from running off.
exactly, especially here in our state.
So if the
so
sprays are
important.
sticking around, then they don't have to put down as much chemicals every time they go to a property. The yards are so strong and thick and lush that the weeds can't get in there, so they're not spraying.
Yeah.
You know, our processes, like Traci was saying, we're starting to reduce the level of chemical spraying on the properties slowly. Like, we're only one person doing this, so if a lot more people out here would do this, it would definitely have a long-term impact on the natural resources like the water table, and help long-term.
Well, yeah, I applaud you guys for starting this. And you know, I think it is hard to, you took a leap and it panned out, but you figured it out.
Yeah.
You know, you did the hard work to make sure that it worked.
We did a lot of research into it. We did a lot of reading, talking to people. It seems that anybody that's in the business, and if you're not going to be competing with them, I guess it's just the way we approach it, but we get so much information just from talking to people as well. I don't know, like, I don't know why. Like, I would think that somebody would want to hold on to the little secrets and stuff like that, but it's such a unique aspect that I talk to so many people on social media, on like Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff.
So if people want to know more about what you're doing, are you okay with them reaching out to you?
Oh Lord, yeah, I talk to people. Traci mad at me. I'm on my phone all the time. We'll be watching. I'm gonna rat you out. We'll be watching TV, and my phone goes ding, and I'm like talking to somebody. I don't even know who they are. They're just on Instagram asking questions like, "What's your application rate? You know, what would you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, no problem. I won't tell you my." Yeah, I'm always talking. If anybody has any questions and wants to talk, we even do. We've even showed people the trailer that have been so interested in it. Like, we've demoed the trailer to people, the Mulchmate trailer, because I think it's freaking awesome. It saved our life. Like, it enabled us to just do 3 yards a day, 4 yards a day. If they're smaller yards, like, we can only carry so much compost.
Yeah.
And we do, the application rate that we do is 1 cubic yard of compost for every 1,000 square feet of grass.
Okay.
So we have to watch the numbers, and we'll play like Tetris, like playing a little. All right, if we have an 8 cubic, we're taking 8 yards to this house, and then we have 3 yards going to this house. So that's 1 day.
Yeah.
4 houses that are only 3,000 square feet. So we'll fill in that day with, and we just kind of like make the schedule full that way.
Scheduling Tetris. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
No, I was like, oh, can I move you over to this day because we want to squeeze this other job in over here, and it works out. But and I'm not plugging the machine, don't take it that way. The Mulchmate trailer, if anybody is looking to get into the top dressing aspect of it, and if they think they're even think they're gonna be able to make it, just buy it. I mean, the dump trailer, the shovel,
So what'd you do with the shovels? Where are those?
they're hanging on the wall. We bronzed them.
I was trying to think of a good answer.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We still have them. We use them for cleaning the street up at the end of the day.
Okay.
But yeah, like
But-
the dump trailer, just skip it. Just it was too much labor. It's really labor intensive. Or you're paying 2 guys to sit in the back of the trailer to shovel. By
Which
the
isn't
time-
nice for them either. And
No,
you've done it, so you know.
yeah. So why would you pay 2 people to stand there that might not show up, cost you workman's compensation? I mean, there's other places to use these people, don't get me wrong. Like there's no,
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't get employees, but for this top dressing work, it's smarter to be more efficient and use your employees somewhere else. When
Yeah.
you can buy a trailer that's not gonna call in sick, it's not gonna break down. The numbers,
Tax breaks
tax
and all that
breaks,
too.
yeah, like
Yeah.
if you get the write-offs, the depreciation, sometimes you have to use all that stuff.
Yeah.
So just forgo the dump trailer and the shovels. If you're gonna do it, just do it right. Just trust me. You're gonna make money.
Ask Tom and Tracy.
I was gonna
They
say,
can give
trust
you the
me.
advice.
But
Yeah.
seriously, it's just-
It's much easier to push a button than with shoveling.
oh my goodness, really is. And the
Hey.
trailer is so damn unique. You're doing a house, and I get aggravated, and thank God Tracy's there.
You get a
But
lot of
I just give like
attention.
and that means somebody's coming down the road, stop them. I don't want to talk to them because everybody wants to see the trailer. Everybody wants to talk about the trailer. What are you doing? Oh, can you do that to my property? We would never get any work done. It's crazy. I wish we could express like how much work there is out here for us, and we're trying to get it all done. And people are coming up and wanting to talk to us, and I'm like,
Go ahead.
Tracy knows my head now. It's like, I have my glasses on. I will not make eye contact. And I'm trying to get the work done, and my head goes like that. And she's watching, and she's like, "All right." So that means go talk to them, please.
Go
I gotta
talk
get this house done, and it works out really good. But yeah,
Well, love what you guys are doing. And thanks for sharing it with the audience and also being willing to have people reach out to you. So I
Oh, yeah.
think, go
we're
ahead.
actually setting. I mean, we're working on it right now. We're talking to Nick from Mulchmate about the demo in the southeast area down here, like your
Yeah.
state, like Georgia, like not too far away. I'm not going to drive to California, but we're going to start offering to take the trailer for people to see it, feel it, touch it.
Good
use it.
idea.
Because we love it. It absolutely saved our lives. I mean, I'm not lying. Like I was so stressed out. Like that elephant was on my chest every night with the mowing business. Now we're just happy, and we joke around, and we never just joke like this.
Oh,
We were miserable.
Oh, it was
oh,
Tell
it
you.
saved your marriage too.
I didn't want to say that, but it probably did. 'Cause I was a jerk for a while there for so much stress. But yeah, we want to show people the trailer. Like anybody can do it. That's why I was like, just skip the dump trailer. Don't even bother doing that thing. Just make the purchase and take it from there.
And move on. Yeah.
Do it. Yeah.
Do it smarter. That's, I mean, you said that we need to, I feel like as an industry, we do need to embrace doing things smarter, rather than just hiring more people, so, and these kind of pieces of equipment, allow you to do that. So, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, another little short story here. I was working last summer doing a yard, and I was hot, and you weren't there that day. And I was sitting in the truck, scrolling in the air conditioning, scrolling through Instagram videos, just trying to cool off. And I saw somebody shelling out of the back of a dump trailer, doing some work on a dump trailer. And this is after we had already I got so mad. I really did. I was so tired and hot. I made a video. If you go back somewhere, I don't know where it is. It's on my Instagram, and it says "Stop the madness." I'm screaming. I'm chastising the guy. I'm like, cut it out. Stop shoveling out of the trailer. I mean, it's stop it. They're like, stop the madness. Yeah, it was funny, but yeah, we do it. The money is there. Like anybody, profit margins we'll never talk about, but to give
Lucrative.
it's lucrative. To give you a clue how lucrative, we sold 400 lawn mowing accounts, and we're doing better now than we were before.
Wow.
Yeah.
And less
No stress.
less equipment, less stress, less
Less
people.
insurance. You know, the workers' compensation is gone. The insurance on those 2 trucks is gone.
Hmm.
You know, when you're paying for added drivers onto your commercial policy, all those drivers cost you $2,000 a year.
Yeah.
So now we're down 3 drivers.
Huh.
Plus the
Yeah.
workers' compensation, plus the salary, plus the stress level. It's gone.
And mind you, for people that are listening too, we're at the point in our life where we're ready to slow down, but we also, if you noticed before, we said we could be running 3 of those trucks out there right now.
Yeah.
So we could
Yeah.
still be doing all those employees in addition to what we're doing, but
Yeah.
we're not
And
at that
triple.
point. So yes.
Yeah.
So for someone out there that's younger and wants that and is at that ambitious point where that's what they're working towards,
Top
you know,
dressers.
it's
It's a
there.
great option. Yeah.
It's where it's at.
Well, and we need it from a sustainability point of view. We need to be thinking of these things that are going to help the future and future water savings and stuff like that. So I think it's, yeah, amazing.
Well, we don't sell it as a fertilizer aspect, and we talked about why, because I don't want to step on their toes. There are guys that do this top dressing with compost as a fertilizer program. So anybody that
Okay.
wants to get more into the green aspect of it and get away from the chemicals,
Yeah.
this is the way to go. Like 3 weeks, like we put stuff down, 3 weeks later, the yards are like, "Bah, hello, thank you." I mean, the results are crazy fast, and it can absolutely be done as a fertilizer program or regimen, whatever the wording is, I don't know the proper wording.
Yeah.
But down south, there's a Joey McKinney, McKinney Land. He does it as part of his fertilizer program. Awesome guy. You know, we go down there and we've talked before, but he's doing it as fertilizer. He's not doing it as top dressing like we are. He's his fertilizer guy, and he's freaking down there.
That's
He is
awesome.
as we are. Like he is swamped, and he doesn't want he's same situation. He was bigger. He downsized and found out all this stuff, and he's like the OG of it all down there. He's been doing it for
Awesome.
yeah. So
Well, gosh, thank you so much for spending time with us and
Thank you.
being on the podcast. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this into an article as well. So yeah, stay tuned and we'll pass it by you guys.
yeah.
All right.
And if anybody wants to talk, Instagram, just look up Oxford Lawn. Facebook, Oxford Lawn. YouTube, Oxford Lawn. It's just search it. You'll pop up and just send me a message. I'll either FaceTime you or call you or just text back and forth. I'm on my phone.
Awesome. He's always on the phone.
I'll help you out. I'll not give you our numbers. I'll tell you our application rates of what we use, how we do it, how often we do it. I'll help you out as much as we can.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing and have a good evening in that beautiful weather.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. See ya.